I've known Step by Step now for very many years. In my day job as Chief Executive of the local authority, I've worked with them on a number of projects. I've worked with them in providing references for funding applications. And it's an organisation that I've always held in very, very high regard. It benefits the community in so many different ways. Our young people are our future, really, and Step by Step are involved in giving young people a future, giving them independence, giving them back their self-esteem and giving them hope. And by doing that, I think the entire community benefits, let alone the many individuals who've been helped over the years. Young people are often blamed for many things which aren't their responsibility at all, but people's perception is that lots of young people gathered around are in themselves in some way a problem. In reality, that's often not the case. But Step by Step helps to give young people a real focus, to concentrate their energies, their enthusiasm on very positive things, developing their own futures, developing their own sense of responsibility and ambition, really by being given a future, by being given homes and being given a second chance, really, being given the opportunity and the encouragement to really believe in themselves. And I always say that if you believe in yourself, then others will start to believe in you as well. So I think they've done a great deal to help individuals in that way. I think the work Step by Step do is excellent, really. It's driven by the very best of motives, supported by a lot of willing volunteers who give their time voluntarily, let alone a very strong and positive paid workforce. And I think they just do such a good job. I'm a great fan of them. I think they do a lot for the community and they have my absolute support.
I had a sort of abusive family life and I had to sort of get out of that home before I become hurt. My worst experiences were struggling to find food and money. I struggled with having a place to stay because people run out, you know, you can't just stay at people's houses for 2 months rent-free. I was homeless for about 3 months before I found Step by Step. They've helped me with employment, they've helped me with college, they've helped me with like having a place to stay, having people around me just to look after me. They've helped manage money, they've helped loads and loads of things. They've just helped me get my life back on track. I think my life is really, really good. I have a lot to look forward to. I'm nearly qualified in hairdressing. I've got a nice job to go to, nice home, everything really.
The reason I become homeless is because my stepfather abused me physically and mentally. The first place I went was a bus shelter when I was younger. It wasn't very nice weather, it was freezing cold. I'm actually type 1 diabetic as well, so I found it very hard to obviously look after myself. But first place for me was the streets really, it wasn't really anywhere else to go. When I was on the streets I saw lots of people doing bad things, doing wrong things. I also encountered people doing it to me, you know, I mean, I was urinated on when I was living on the streets. I lived in a public toilet for about 2 years and drinking heavily because the only way to drown out what's going on around me was drinking the alcohol. I met people out there that you wouldn't really want to talk to, you know. When I moved out from home, I stayed on the street for a bit and then I moved into supported lodgings. What happens is you then move on to your own flat. I had a drink problem at the time, they moved me onto my own flat and I was quite young. I was only 17 when I moved into there. I stayed in there for a bit and ended up drinking. I didn't really know anyone around Oldham when I was there. I did have a job, but once again, the only place I could go was a pub, so I carried on drinking and drunk myself into debt. And then I got evicted from my flat and then went back onto the streets. I heard about Step by Step. I actually met a mate when I was in Guildford. I knew him when I was little, we grew up together, and he'd been in Step by Step and he'd progressed throughout the whole process. And he had his own flat and he was working, he was doing well for himself. And when he saw me, I was only weighing about 7 stone and I was really ill. And he said to me, look, there's a place called Step by Step in Aldershot. I didn't think nothing of it. I thought, yeah, whatever, I'll carry on with my life. And then I got kicked out of the last foyer I was in. I lived in many different hostels, foyers, and failed in every single one of them.
I became homeless because of a family breakdown initially, which led me to drink. and when I started drinking, a lot more things went downhill. I tried to move out and move on to independence myself, and I got stitched up by a landlord. He basically waited until everybody had gone out one day and changed all the locks, bolted the windows, and kicked everyone out. Gutted the flat out and lost absolutely everything. My worst experience was probably not eating for about 2.5 weeks. Absolute agony when I did start eating again. Constant vomiting, just didn't feel like eating again. Between being kicked out of my previous accommodation and being taken into Step by Step, I was living at my commercial premises of my place of work.
Step by Step provides a platform for young people to learn general life skills. When you're young, you would hope that the adults around you would provide you with those skills, but some young people don't have that. They find themselves homeless, and I think the benefit for them is they've got somewhere they can go to get help, maybe back into employment.
Key work can help me because I needed someone to talk to, and I couldn't talk to any of my friends. It's private and confidential, and your key worker will help you. I have a lot of debt issues because of obviously when I was living rough, or when I was moving from place to place, I was also always taking finance out to find a way to pay for my addiction, and I got in a lot of financial difficulties. And staff are there as well to help you filling in forms, filling in paperwork. I mean, life now, I'm positive, more positive than I was. I'm off the alcohol now, completely. I've been getting help for with my education, so life's looking a lot better. I have full communication with my mum now, which I never used to have. I have communication with my dad, but now I'm getting to know my little brother and my little sister. I'm meeting family as well that I didn't even know I had.
Their project is not just providing accommodation, it's a whole gamut of development projects as well, which is really quite exciting. A lot of other organisations just have accommodation with something latched on development, but Step by Step they work in tandem, and I'm very impressed by the work they do. The other thing that I promote quite widely across the southeast and nationally is Step by Step's work with supported lodgings. I'm currently working with a local authority and provider from another area, and you know, Step by Step is an organisation I'm promoting to them. The local authority has the second highest young people in temporary accommodation in the country, and we want to use the supported lodgings, the 4 stages of accommodation, and the support projects to show that it can be reduced and can be done in a reasonable and sensible fashion. The fact that I can refer local authorities and other providers who are working on youth issues to Step by Step, comfortably, confident that Step by Step will share their knowledge and good practice in what they're doing, is testimony to the work Step by Step does. If I didn't feel confident with them, I couldn't refer other people to them. And as I say, I do this nationally as well as just regionally as well.
My main role with Step by Step is from a problem solving in the community standpoint. I don't deal with the day-to-day business of frontline policing, but my involvement would probably more likely to be when your clients come into contact with unscrupulous landlords or licensing issues or something of that nature. And my team would be involved with crime prevention. I think it provides the young people with skills to go out into the community by giving them education, showing them how to deal with issues that perhaps adults find fairly simple, like tenancy, paying your rent, paying your bills, etc.
Because I visit Step by Step quite regularly, over the visits I get to see some of the young people more than once. It's not a different set of people, sometimes it's the same people. So each time I come back and see the confidence in these young people, it's incredible. You know, from quite timid, shy, with some, you know, horrendous stories, if you like, from how they've ended up the step by step. To see them becoming so confident, to see them talk about and supportive of the staff in step by step, to listen to them talking about education, work, looking forward to independent living for the first time in the young lives. I think that again is shows the benefit to service users, and this is from service users. It's not staff telling me what's happening, it is service users, the young people themselves.
The local beat teams at Aldershot have always had a very good relationship with Step by Step. We very rarely come into contact with your clients.
I decided to accept Step by Step's help on the basis that I needed some support, I needed a place to live. I just didn't have me anymore. I needed someone to help me re-establish who I was, what life is, how you can live it. The step-by-step services have helped me by allowing me to have my voice back. My self-esteem has been rebuilt. Also, the DNA, the drugs and alcohol counselling that's available, that's helped me with my alcohol issues. The accommodation staff as well, being very, very supportive when it comes to day-to-day living. I feel confident. Emotionally a lot more secure. Physically my well-being is 110% better. I'm eating better, I've got better self-esteem, social networks a lot better as well. I feel about life now that it's worth living. It's not the end of an alcohol bottle. There is some life left in me, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I've got a prospect of a career really. I've now got a voice. I'm a human being. I'm not just someone without a mouth lying on the street.
They do a tremendous job. I'm proud to be associated with them. I'm proud to promote them as a service with good practice, and that doesn't just come from me as well. When you look at supporting people and the quality assessment framework, for them to achieve so many grade A's when working with young people, it's just incredible.
I think it's brilliant and I fully support it. It provides a platform for young people who have perhaps found themselves homeless or unsupported to go out into the society with skills and knowledge to steer them away from offending, prevent them from becoming victims of crime or just becoming vulnerable in society. And hopefully at the end of their involvement with the project, they go out into the community as responsible adults and provide a service to the community.
This is the sort of work we should be supporting, and we should be replicating this across the country. I've spent a lot of time as High Sheriff visiting different projects in Surrey, and I haven't come across anything that's quite like Step by Step. I think it's holistic and I think it's realistic. It's taking young people who are disadvantaged and marginalised, who if they weren't living within or existing within the environs and the encompassing framework of Step by Step, probably would either be homeless or sofa surfing. If they weren't with Step by Step, they would be potentially on the streets, they could be in our prisons. They come to Step by Step often with massive antisocial behaviour problems. And my observation is that they are enabled by the workers, your workers, to discover things about themselves, bad things and good things, and to develop a way of coping. I think that you have a belief in them which other people haven't had before, and that is hugely enabling of them, and I think that's one of the most important things. I'd say that the young people that I saw at Step by Step on both my visits benefit hugely from the work you're doing. As I understand it, in order to move from Emmaus House to Victoria Road and on to the flats, the young people have to show themselves prepared to get involved in the development projects. And we, of course, gave this time around the money to help, which I think is Homeless Education Liaison Project. And I was so impressed by the way the young people themselves go into the schools, go into the community and act as peer mentors effectively. And talking with them, when I came to present the certificate, I noted that in some instances they had discovered things from the young people in the schools or the youth clubs that those young people hadn't shared with either their youth workers, their teachers or their parents, but they had shared them with your young people from Step by Step. And that is a massive resource that really we should be encouraging you to develop, and the more funding you can get for that sort of project, the better. And that's why we gave you not the £1,000 that you applied for, but the £1,500, because we recognise the High Sheriff Youth Awards, the huge value of that, not just for the young people themselves, but also for the community. I hope that the community will take its lead from the High Sheriff's Awards and give to you so that you can continue your work.